Hi there. It's so wonderful to be back with you again. It's Mishka Toth and it's the I Am series. And as I discussed with you last week, in this season of I Am, we're looking at I Am in relation to others. So, as you can remember, if you can remember correctly, I have spoken to you last week about that piece of the puzzle. If you've missed it, please, if you've missed any of these series in the series, you're more than welcome to go to our website. I just want to remind you again, it is at mishka.com. And go and have a look. In the archives, you'll actually find everything on I Am, the first series, and now it's the second one. It is important because we're actually building, we're building on from the one to the other. And it's so vital to start to see ourselves in the in the right context instead of the wrong context we might have been in for so many years. Now, I have to take up the story of the puzzle piece because that's something that is important for us to almost visualize. So if you haven't heard it, I said last week that we are that piece of the puzzle, that unless we understand who we are, that piece cannot be right. So you see, it's like having a blank piece. We said that you don't have a puzzle that has only one color, like say blue. And then how on earth will you find out where do we fit in? So every single piece of a puzzle does have look different. The shape doesn't have the difference. It's not in the shape necessarily. Yes, the one has the sides and it's got to fit into the other one where it's open again. Yes, of course. But to a certain degree, the little pieces of the puzzle looks similar, but what's on top of it, the look of it, the display is different because we're looking to build the puzzle and it's got lines and it's got colors and it's got all these things, and all of it is an indication of where am I, where do I fit in. So what is a society about? How do we build a society that looks good again? What do we bring in? How does it affect everything that I'm talking about? I am. How does it affect our societies out there? Because that's actually what's important. You see, the purpose, remember we said I am is that fact inside of us that has a unique, we know what our unique purpose is. Now, purpose is important, not just for myself. That's only the one side of it. Purpose is important for other people. So if I look at the puzzle piece, I'd like to put it to you like this. The puzzle piece, the shape of it, fits into the other one next to it. Now, if we look at a lot of puzzle pieces, they have a lot of the same shapes. So that is not different. Now, if I take the puzzle and I say, right now, I need to fit you in, the look of it is different. That's very similar to us. If we make up a society or we make up a community, we can say, right, this one, we are all in a certain shape. We all have like a similar look, We build, people around that. We can see that the things are similar. But when we look at purpose inside of everyone, that purpose is still unique, but it flows in with the one next to us. It can flow in, it flows in. There's beautiful flow. You won't find anybody building a puzzle and then just take this random piece and force it in, We're saying, okay, you've got this round here and I've got this thing here, so maybe we should make it happen. We should have this thing. We should force it. Can you see how knowing who we are can make the difference? Because it's easy to confuse the shapes. But when we get confused on the look and the top of this puzzle, then we start to build a picture that doesn't work anymore. So if we only focus on the one area, and that is the shape of the block, and we take another block and we force it into that, when we look at the picture is not going to work. Makes sense? So now we've got these forced things that starts to happen. And unless, and that is how we are, and that is how I'd like you to start to view the I am factor. And that is how important it is for us to start to not just look at ourselves as I am. That is how important it is for all of us to start to look at the people around us and start to make people aware of the fact that, do you know who you are? Because you see, you knowing who you are impacts my life. Me knowing who I am and my purpose is will impact your life. And if I'm comfortable in my shoes, if I'm comfortable with who I am, I will only bring beauty to you, because all of a sudden we will now flow. We will complete the picture, not compete. We will complete. So it will be easy. It won't be the similar. Have you ever seen a puzzle? You don't have the similar, same blocks. So there's no competition. If I've got to run here, man, that's the only space that I'm going to be in. And often in society, that is what's happening so much. And we're getting bogged down by these little things and arguments and things that's not supposed to even be there. That was never part of the original plan. Remember, we're looking at the original plan of why are we on earth. So there's no similar fingerprint. So have you ever seen anybody fighting for another person's fingerprint? For no reason. I mean, you can't, whatever you do, you can't take that fingerprint and say, I want your life because you look like you've got a good life. So I'm going to take your fingerprint and I'm going to put it on mine. No, we've got our own fingerprint, and with that fingerprint, we actually gave us the right to live our own good life. Doesn't mean your life should be bad. Doesn't mean that person looks successful in my eyes, but I'm telling you one thing, if I've got to be put into their shoes, I might possibly fail completely, because that is that person's life. That is what they have been designed to do. That is exactly as they have this, that fingerprint is making them successful. That is the way they've been put together. They can do that. I might want to do it because it looks so amazing. But there is just no ways that I'm going to do it, because that's not what I am supposed to do. So a lot of things happen in life. There's a lot of strife, a lot of competition, a lot of unnecessary things that makes people just tired. I mean, I speak on Let's Talk Business, and even in that environment, people are so concerned about what their competitors do that they forget to just be the best who they are at. If I'm just the best me, then I can give you everything in your life to become the best you. And that is my purpose. My purpose is not to change you to become me. My purpose is not to bring you to, okay, we've got to all look the same. This is not ridiculous. Nothing in creation is like that. There's absolutely nothing. Nothing that's absolutely beautiful and perfect and natural looks everywhere the same. They just look similar. We get things look similar, so we know this is a group of that and it's a group of that. But nothing looks exactly the same. There's always something that's going to be different about something else. So we can see the grouping. We can see, okay, this fits together. But nothing is exactly the same. We've got similarities, but we are unique. Most of everything is unique. And especially with us, as humans, we are the most amazing part of it. Our brain is unique. Our thoughts are unique. Our subconscious have unique memories and experiences. We think completely unique. When I wake up in the morning, I don't think the way my spouse or my husband would think. The way he thinks is special. And sometimes we get so intimidated by the differences, he's a man, I'm a woman, or if we just talk about it, and that's one area I want to start with today, would be if you take the very closest person to you, think about that person today. I don't know who it is, but if it's your spouse, if it's your child, if it's your mother, if it's your father, if it's your brother, if it's your sister, that person, the best friend, the person very close to you, the closest to you today, that person is unique. Can you see the absolute impact it can make on our lives? It is, and unless we are so comfortable with who we are, we start to feel sometimes threatened. We start to feel, but I don't know now. I want you to be like me. Can you see how many problems are coming in life? Actually arising in life because we want people to be the way we are. Let me tell you something. When you are who you are, the person that's your block, your other puzzle piece that fits perfectly into you will come. And that person, it will be just so amazing, because all of a sudden you won't have to force the block in. You'll be similar in ways that will amaze you and think, oh my goodness, you actually do things the way I do, you do things the way I do. And then you'll see, oops, but it's completely, something is different. Yet we form one picture. But if I don't understand that, if I know my purpose, I'll never feel threatened by the person next to me. I'll never feel that they are going to even go anywhere. Because if I'm in the right place, it's when we force it, we think, okay, this has got to work. I'm going to have to make this work. Then things are always insecure. There's always an insecure feeling about it, because we've taken that puzzle piece and we thought, okay, um, this round piece should go into this hole now, so we've got something going here. But even when you look at it, there's no unity, there's no beauty, there's no harmony, there's nothing. The picture, because I've taken a puzzle piece that's like somewhere else in the puzzle, and I haven't waited for the building to finish. I haven't waited for the guy. I haven't waited for things to be sorted out. Who's building the puzzle? I don't know who I am. I don't see who I am. That's why people force themselves into situations that they're never supposed to be in. That's why people find themselves in situations where they're so terribly unhappy, because they just see something and think, maybe I should be there. You should never be there, because we're not comfortable with who we are. So first of all, in I am, we need to find out, who am I? What is it that makes me feel happy? Who is that person close to me? Let's talk about husband and wife. Let's talk about spouses. Isn't that the most amazing thing that I think a lot of people yearn for? Is to have and find that puzzle piece that will be, you can see, man, there's not even a line clashing, because at the end of the day, purpose runs together. Very few times people of complete opposite purposes will really have the guts to stay together for a lifelong period. If they don't find somewhere in their being together a similarity. You see the line cross from the one to the other. If you're looking at a puzzle, maybe we're busy building a flower. The flower's lines are perfectly formed. It's not going to be in this one and not in that one. So there's going to be similarities. There are going to be things that's going to be beautiful. And once you've given yourself a lot of time to find your purpose, once you've been honest with yourself and go deep down and understand, this is what I've been created for, then it's so much easier to start to live a life where the other person that is the same, that is just going to slot in right next to me, into that slot perfectly. You don't have to force it, because you never painted the puzzle. We don't paint the blocks. We don't decide the purpose. You and I don't decide that. When we came into this world, it's already been decided. It's perfectly formed. So if we've got the patience and we don't force situations, and not just because of patience, sometimes it's just the fact of complete ignorance. If I know finding out who I am is absolutely vital before I put myself into a position with another person in life that I'm going to grow old with, and that person must at least have similar beliefs, similar thoughts, similar where we're going to, what are we going to achieve together. Doesn't that make a difference? Doesn't that already tell you something is right about the picture? So doesn't that make a change to our thinking when we make decisions again? When we make those vital decisions in life of, who am I going to choose to grow old with? Because that person will just complement us. They will be that, where we've got the hole, you see there's I can't do anything about that. The puzzle piece has that hole. And there's one piece that's going to fit into that. It's going to complete it. So that person has some strength that I don't have. And maybe we're fighting and thinking, I need to be, I have to fill that piece. Can you see that? There's a lot of independence. People that don't want to acknowledge that I need my spouse, because that little piece, I don't have it. It's just not part of who I am. But he or she has that. And it completes me. So it's a waiting, it's a forming, it's a knowing who I am. It's a knowing that that purpose that's inside of me is eventually going to form this unity, so that when people look at us, they see actually this person that forms a unity and one, when they look at it, it's not this weird picture. It's not like you haven't forced something from a different area. Now, we're living in a life today where people are getting divorced all over, and there's a tremendous amount of condemnation. People don't know what now, they've been left alone. But I do believe that what we're doing is we're trying to remedy a symptom. That is firmly my belief, is that people don't have the patience to wait for the person that will really complete them. There's no forced situation, because you can force something only for a certain period of time and then it breaks. Now we end up with an exceptionally high divorce rate, where we don't train and teach our children any longer to wait and understand who you are. Because understanding who you are will make you realize how exceptionally important it is to make the right decision when you're going to get married. Because that person needs to complete you. You can't force something. If it's not working and if it's not good, it's not good. It's not going to happen. You can only do it for a while, and some break must come. So why don't we teach our children to just grow up and understanding, who am I? What makes me tick? If I enjoy something and my spouse or the person that I'm planning to get married to doesn't enjoy it at all and will never be there. So you've already got to ask yourself, is this going to be something that I can live with for 50, 60 years? Because we've got to teach our children we've got to change what's happening. And I come from a background where I can say to you, I've been there, I've done that, I've worn the t-shirt, I've gone through divorce. And it's a breaking of so much. When you have tried to do something that's not working, you actually leave things undone for long. So why don't we just go back to the basics and start to train and teach our children to find out who they are first? Why don't we decide, right, we are going to break this whole vicious circle? Because if we know who we are and we've got confidence in who we are, we can actually first of all be alone first. It's okay, because nothing is broken about a puzzle piece. It needs something and it will make it more beautiful. But unless we get to that place where we're completely whole and we understand, oops, that person walks into our lives and we know, you know what, you actually are with the person that complete me. We don't compete with each other. Spouses not supposed to compete with one another. They complete each other. They are just so comfortable in that spot. When you look at it, you just see this one picture. You just see two eagles flying together. You know what I'm saying? And that's so worth our while to look at it through different eyes again, and to make that happen, and to make and to teach a new generation. Let's do it that way. Yes, we've messed up, but we can still make it so beautiful in the generations to come. Okay, so that's from myself, and there I am until next week. Goodbye.